Did you get the memo?
Depends what the memo was. I get left notes all the time from people.
Well,
none of them are good.
You mustn't have, because the Nature Strip bandwagon's back. It's back.
Oh, mate. I can't begrudge that run at all. I know I didn't really give him a lot of stick in the pod last week. I did say he was a bit past his prime.
You said 18 months ago was his prime, so even though he won the TJ last year.
Pretty sure I had him too. I gave him a bit of stick. But look, I can't take anything away from that win.
Huge.
But I'll tell you what, between the two of us, we had the first three.
Yeah. Which you would have had nothing in the percentages if you chucked them all together.
Yeah. Well, September Run and Swats that. They came home like a freight train, like I said they would. I was just waiting for Biv to do the same. He just never did.
Nah.
So, yeah, look, I think...
Watch him win the TJ now.
Yeah. Wants further.
Yeah. Of course he does. Yeah. But...
I didn't get the note. I didn't get the memo.
No, you didn't. I'm pretty sure I was writing it, because I'm a first-time member of the Nature Strip bandwagon, but it's good to be a part of it.
Yeah, you and Dolab. His message to the group, I finally caught him! He was ecstatic. Yeah, I wasn't too upset about that loss. It does make things really interesting for the Newmarket with September Run. Yeah,
it's funny. I was looking at the Newmarket, and it's just not... It's not a vintage edition of it, because all the really good horses, they're just basically going for the TJ now. So Nature Strip and Bivouac have confirmed that they're not going, because they'd be the top weights.
Yeah.
So, but keen to see it regardless. Okay. As we kick it off each time, mate, horses to follow, whether it's from last week or this upcoming meeting on the weekend, hit me.
Well, I've got a filly who actually ran in the Group 2 Light Fingers stakes at Randwick. She finished second, Never Talk.
Okay.
Massive green light for me there. She was in the same race as Carmelass, so I gave a bit of a plug for winning the 1,000 guineas over in New Zealand. Carmelass ran last. Shit. So, but look, watch the replay. And Never Talk was coming last basically the whole trip up until the last 300 metres, and she found a gap, absolutely pounced to sort of finish second by about half a head.
Okay.
Been home away game. She's got a great wet deck record, and she's $13 for the Surround Stakes right now. So if we see some rain around on that day...
No, in Sydney, mate, surely.
Yeah, during the autumn, surely. Surely. Yeah, one to keep an eye on, I think. Never Talk showed some impressive turn of foot. Real punter's horse.
Yeah, like it. I like it. Mine was a bit left field, my first one. Ran second to Ingratiating. First up on debut, Gimme Par. This Peter Moody trained galloper. First time down the straight, ticked that box big time. Is nommed for the Golden Slipper, is $34, but I'd be shocked if they went that way. Springtime filly for mine, but really impressive for mine.
Okay.
Really wasn't really beating much home behind her, but I think, ran within half a length of Ingratiating, who's $10 in a Blue Diamond now. So, she's one to follow for the spring.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, next for me, I grouped them together, but it's, the lightly weighted fillies in the Lightning. September Run and Swats that. Ran out of their skin.
I purposely didn't do them because I knew you'd have them covered.
Yeah, the lightly weighted fillies strike again.
Yeah.
Oh, big fan. September Run especially has just proven she's an elite straight runner horse. So.
She surprised me how wound up she was first up. So, she's an elite straight track horse.
Yeah, and Swat's that impressive as well.
She'll never beat September Run home in a race if they're racing together. Can't get past her.
Yeah, they might have a few more duels, I think, before both their careers are over. But no, that was definitely a highlight of the race for me. She ran home like a freight train.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
Deserved Newmarket favourite now, and look, she'll be mighty hard to beat, and she'll be about $2 as well, so no spoil there. Omen of the weekend, last weekend for mine, Stay Inside in Sydney. This, I think it's a colt. Yeah, 2-year-old colt. Official winning margin of 4 lengths, but my goodness.
Pulled up.
J-Mac, after the line, he was shaking his head at how good this thing was. And in his post-interview, he was basically like, I just can't wait to get back on this horse. So you're still getting about $9 or $10 for him in the Golden Slipper. With Enthar looking on shaky ground after today.
I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit more.
My goodness. And obviously Profiteer looks a pretty smart horse as well. But yeah, I think that looks overs already for mine. So I'd be happy to take that price.
Fair enough. So yeah, for this weekend coming up, there's a horse that's a bit of a favourite of the podcast running this weekend.
Hit me.
Especially yours.
Okay.
It's race 7 in Rose Hill.
Okay.
Lions Roar.
Oh.
He's back in action.
How good.
They're showing him no respect. He's $17 in the market.
Oh. Where is he?
It's going to be pissing down rain in Sydney.
It's going to be pissing down.
Guess who likes that? Guess who eats that up?
The Lion.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
Absolutely no respect.
None.
He's nominated for the Randwick Guineas and he's $15 there, but he's $17 on the weekend.
Shout out to Tommy Coconut, who follows us on the IG. His mum owns a share in the big boy. So
shout out.
Yeah. Mate, if you give us the inside lane on where he's actually going this prep, that'd be handy. But I did see him, and I think he's nommed in the Rose Hill and Randwick Guineas. So
he is.
I think the Rose Hill Guineas is the further one, I think. Or it might be the Randwick. Either way, 2,000 metres against his own age. Yeah, he can win that.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's about $20 in it. So, yeah, juice.
Yeah, so we'll be keen to see him go around this weekend, mate, for sure.
How good. My last one is a girl that I'm going to follow and have a bet on for the rest of the preparation. And her ultimate aim is the Tancred in Colette. So in that race, I think she's second favourite. She's about $8 or $9. The favourite is Very Elegant, but Colette has never done that first up before. She usually takes 3 or 4 runs to get into her preparation. It's going to be wet tracks in Sydney. I just can't see myself not backing her every single start.
Fair enough.
And she was about $12 in the Golden Eagle when she won. She was $12 again on the weekend. She just constantly gets underestimated by the market.
Yeah. As soon as it started pouring down rain in Sydney, her stocks just rose and rose.
Yeah.
Look, I think she's one of those horses that, or one of those mares more specifically, and you know this, some of them once they get to sort of 4 or 5, they sort of go one or two ways. They go, I'm ready to go breed, essentially, or I'm ready to actually turn it on as a racehorse. So, Colette could be, well, it appears as if she's the latter.
Yes, absolutely. So, any others?
Nah, mate, that's all done for me.
Dunsky. And let's hustle on because we got a big episode here.
Don't we?
Polo Recipients, before you start, there's been a bit of confusion. So someone that works with Prue, my partner, hit her up and was like, saw that Dan tipped Nature Strip, shout out to me. But he was confused because he thought that might be going towards the Polo for our Polo Punt Club. So
okay.
Let's clear that up. Group 1s, we're just doing a little Group 1 in competition between us, but we actually have nothing to play for at the moment. So we need to think of something that we're actually playing for.
Yeah, well, I think we should. It's generally pretty close to the Group 1 comp between us. I don't know. Should it be something for the loser, like an orange polo potentially, or should we award the winner? Because it's a good feat.
Yes. We'll have to come back to that because I have no idea. And I feel like that is a Punt Club decision that you have to make together.
Look, I think maybe a navy polo.
A navy.
Brand new.
I'd love it.
Get it embroidered.
Clubhouse leader loves it.
There you go.
Yeah. So all fair.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. A nice navy polo. And that person potentially gets to wear that at the Purple Polo lunch.
Oh,
So you got someone in a nice navy, always a top tier, and someone in a shocking purple.
I like how we workshop this.
Yeah, it's good.
With the listeners. But Polo Recipients this week, mate. Kick us off.
Well, speaking of navy polos, it has to go to Jamie Carr again.
Oh, God.
Another treble on the weekend.
She's going to have nothing else in her wardrobe.
Yeah. She's just going to be wearing Coolmore silks every weekend. So, 3 wins, including obviously that great win on the enigmatic nature strip.
Yes.
She had 2 seconds and a third as well.
Huge.
There was only really one horse, I think, that was at each way prices that she was on the weekend. But even if you just backed that each way, I think there's maybe Mwanga she was on.
Yep.
And if you backed her horses that were at shorter odds on the nose, you'd be well up for the day.
Yeah.
So, if you backed every other horse that she was on too, you'd still be up, even if she didn't win. So,
yes.
That's an undisputed Navy Polo. White Polo.
Yes.
Now, I was looking at the Eagle Farm form this weekend, just having a bit of a look through. And I looked at the first race. It's 2-year-olds,
okay,
which I like.
My goodness.
And there's a horse racing this weekend called the Stiffmeister. Named after Stifler from American Pie, I would imagine. And his mare is Hot Mama.
Oh, my God.
And obviously, Stifler's mum has got it going on
course,
in American Pie. So
of course she does.
I was thinking about that, and actually, ironically, the Stiffmeister's a gelding, so he's
poor fella.
Yeah, so the name's a bit ironic.
What could have been?
But, it got me thinking. There's some really great horse names out there, and I reckon there's more of them are just more of a shout out to the punters, if that makes sense. The good ones like Work Drinks.
Yes.
Schooners.
Yes.
Anything else you can think of? Great names for horses? Off the top of your head, I'll put you on the spot.
The Drinks Cart.
Yep, that's a good one.
Was a 2-year-old. Off the top of my head, that's probably all I've got for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But some great horse names out there. So let's see how the Stiffmeister goes on the weekend. He's about $4.50, so hopefully he gets up for the punters.
Right. If we see any funky names like that, we have to air them to the punters.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we can't let Stiffmeister let himself run around without the people knowing about it.
Yeah. Well, the amount of people this podcast reaches and who listen to it, it'll get pumped in from $4.50 to about $2 now. So
value.
Yeah, so get on now.
Yeah.
And the Purple Polo for me, look, there wasn't anything that stood out too much, but I'm just going to give it to Facebook. Just because it clogged the news feed today.
Didn't it?
Just Facebook. You're not going to be able to get your news from Facebook anymore. Oh no.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
Such a shame. Yeah. Like Batuta Advocate.
Yeah.
ABC News. Now they can only go through Instagram and other channels, not Facebook. So pretty crazy. But the world is changing, mate. The world's changing.
Yeah. Well, I don't have Facebook and nor do you.
Yes.
So, look, we're not really missing out on much, are we?
We're strictly IG men.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, completely visual.
Yeah. All visual. We're too dumb to read.
Yeah, exactly. But that's it, mate. That's the Polos this week. Short and sharp.
I like it. Speaking of reading, have you read the form for the Group 1s this week?
Yeah, couldn't make much sense of it, though, as usual.
Oh, my goodness. So the first Group 1 of the day is the Futurity Stakes. My goodness, this is an absolute belter.
Isn't it just anything could win this, mate?
Yeah, it can, but, we have to narrow it down to 3.
Oh, no.
1,400 metres, weight for age, previous winners, Blackheart Bart, Brave Smash, who's an underrated horse, and he's at stud. So I'm keen to see his little kitties run around soon. Elise, More Joyous, Rogue, Manicato, and Streets of Avalon stole it last year over Super Seth. So you usually have a mixture of sprinters and stayers dropping down and going up in distance. But recently it's now more of a lead-in for the Australian Guineas and, of course, the All-Star Mile, which is looking like another belting race.
Yep.
So this is how the favourites have fared, and I've got this basically for all 3 of the features. So last 37 years, 16 favourites have won. So not a bad strike rate, 1 in 3 or so. 9 favourites have failed to place. So basically 28 times out of 37, the favourite has run into the money. In the last 10 years, 7 of those, the favourite has won. So the favourites go pretty well in the Futurity. So, all that in consideration, mate, how do you see this one unfolding?
Yeah, difficult. I think we've got some nice early speed. Crosshaven's got the blinkers on for the first time.
Saw that.
So that'll tune him up, I think. He'll set a nice tempo up front. We all know Streets of Avalon likes to be out there too. And Too Close to the Sun, I'd imagine, will probably be there as well.
Yeah.
And they've all drawn quite well as leaders, so I would imagine they'll all get across quite comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
Not too sure which out of the three of them will be right at the front. Maybe Too Close to the Sun initially?
Yeah, probably. He likes to roll around in free air. Yep.
Yeah. And then generally, obviously, you've got the likes of Behemoth, Arcadia Queen, Probabile, sort of ridden a bit back. I'd really like to see Probable ridden positively, though.
Sticky barrier.
Yeah, it is a sticky barrier. You can remember Epsom win last year, which was fantastic. She drew, I think, 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And Karen McAvoy brought her straight across and rode her, maybe she was 3 or 4 back or something like that.
Yeah.
She was right up on pace. So I'd like to see that from Probable again. Wasn't she great last start?
She was, but I think she has to improve a lot here because this is an absolutely elite field.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, mate. This is probably her biggest test so far. Can't knock her. She's a great horse, but she hasn't come across these types before. How do you sort of see Arcadia Queen faring first up? She's got pretty good strike rate. It's a dry track. This isn't her cherry on top race, obviously, but it's not a grand final, but she could just blitz them. Yeah,
she could. She's one of the best horses in Australia. Probably the best dry track horse in Australia.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to risk her, rightly or wrongly, this weekend. We just saw last year in the spring, she is an absolutely elite 1,800, 2,000 metre horse. This is 1,400.
Yeah.
There's one horse here, and it's not Streets of Avalon. That is a Caulfield 1,400 metre absolute smack bang elite horse, and that's Behemoth.
Yeah, and plus he weighs like a ton.
Yeah.
So for him, I think he was 58 last start from memory reading the form. He's 59 here. The extra kilo to him, irrelevant.
And he's only giving 2 kilos away to Probable.
Exactly.
And probably like 3.5, 4 kilos to the 3-year-olds. So speaking of, 3-year-olds have kind of had a pretty slow start to the autumn. How do you see Oakleigh Kirk running?
Oh, look, I think Oakleigh Kirk was a pass mark last start. I wasn't, I'm not off him. But as he showed last prep, he gets better as he goes along. I think 1,600 is his go.
Yep.
This is obviously 1,400. I think he could shake this race. Draws barrier 1, though, and I don't know about you, but in Caulfield, I probably like to be the middle to outer barriers. On that sharp turn, you probably want to be able to pick your spot when you're coming down the straight. And sometimes on the inside barrier, you can sort of it can be a bit sticky, like a really deep barrier. So
yeah, I get what you mean, but also we thought that for Behemoth it was either the Memsey or
true, actually.
The other one where he drew 1. I was like, there's no way this horse is going to win, and he just trotted up, went to the front, won by 3.
Yeah.
So this is how I see the race unfolding. I think there's enough early speed in there, and I think I just want the best track and trip horse in the race, and that's Behemoth. I think I'm a little bit annoyed that Craig Williams doesn't have the ride because he just knows that horse inside and out in Victoria. So, but Damien Oliver's a pretty damn good jockey. I think he's just going to sit maybe 4th or 5th in the running, get a spot, and then push out when he has an opportunity, and then just prove too strong over the top. I think Probabile's still going to run a nice race, but I just think I I just don't know if I like her in this race that much, but I do think she'll run a race, and I've got her running into second. And I think Ole Kirk will be fully wound up. Any position in the top 3 for him as a stallion is a big ticket weight for age for that horse. So he'll be fully wound up. I'm happy to risk Arcadia Queen for the reasons outlined.
Yeah, we see this race very similarly, mate. I'm to be honest, I think I'm giving probably a bit more of a chance than you are. I know you've got her running in second, but I think she could rock this. She's shown that she's improved every prep. She came back first up here at Caulfield and blitzed the 1,200 metres, but I can't go past Behemoth's record either. This sort of race was made for him, whereas there's still probably question marks around Probabile. So I've got Behemoth running on top as well. I think Probile will be there or thereabouts, running second. And I actually have Arcadia Queen purely on class, running third. I think she could blitz him. Like, she could just come out and just absolutely blitz him. So
she'll be in the quaddie 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
We know someone who likes her a lot.
Mate, I've already
First name Brad, last name Weston.
I've already got the bet slip.
Oh, do you?
He sent it to me. Okay.
Love him.
First G1 done and dusted, but what the day is named after, what the meeting's named after, what you should thrive on because you love it, the Blue Diamond Stakes, and who you got in front of you there?
I've got Liar.
Oh, no.
Yeah, where are they now? Look, picked her in the Blue Diamond a couple of years back. Have backed her a fair few times since then, and she hasn't come into the chocolates. But for that short spurt of time, she was one of my favourite horses.
Mate, she was about 40s, and then she was probably about 10s or 20s on Blue Diamond Day, and I think she ran third in the Golden Slipper.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
2-year-old record.
Run of form, yeah, 2-year-old record.
One of the best, but then she just didn't go on with it, like a lot of them don't, except, my goodness, wasn't this boy good over the weekend? Tagaloa.
Yeah, it was good to see. I was glad that he's found some form. Yeah, and I think that's very interesting because there's a couple of horses this weekend who have Tagaloa form. So,
But before we get into the race preview, there's 2 major lead-up races for the Blue Diamond. There's the Blue Diamond Prelude for fillies and the other one for colts and geldings. So the fillies edition, Arcaded won that with Scorched Earth running second and Wolves running third. The colts and geldings, you had General Bow, honest horse, does nothing wrong. He won that. Animo, Flashing Light, ran second, and Jigsaw, huge run, ran third. So it's a bit of a battle of the sexes, the Blue Diamond, as it typically is for a 2-year-old race. You're either with the boys or the girls. Since 2000, 12 colts and geldings have won, and 8 fillies. So, it's pretty even, all things considered. Last 37 years, 11 favourites have won the Blue Diamond. So you're striking a lot less there.
bit of a graveyard if you're backing favourites.
And in the last 37 years as well, 12 of the favourites have failed to place.
Right.
So, yes, interesting stats there. In the last 20 years, 7 favourites have won at double figures, like the big boy last year, Tagaloa.
Big tag.
So, mate, look, I know you love 2-year-olds, so I'm going to give you the honours.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Talk me through how the hell this race is going to unfold.
Oh, well, look, speaking of favourites, there's a big dark cloud hanging over a red-hot favourite in this race, Enthar. Some dramas today.
Mm-hmm.
Will she run?
Yeah, I reckon. So the example I heard David Gately talk about today was Loving Gabby was shin sore before she ran in the Blue Diamond. And they purposely held her back in her 2-year-old year because she had some issues. She ran 4th that day behind Liar, I'm pretty sure, and she was enormous. So I think Enthar will run, but any setback, that cannot possibly help. So
No.
$2.50 in a field of 16. She's raced at 1,000 metres for only 2 starts. She's looked outstanding, looked brilliant. I can't have her at the price.
Yeah, I think there's too much risk with Enthar, especially at that price on the weekend. Her splits are elite, though. Over 1,000 metres. Brad was telling me yesterday that one of the trainers had some concerns about her going up the extra 200 metres.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brad necessarily agreed with that, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with those concerns. Just based on her split, so impressive you'd think she'd be able to push it out an extra 200 metres. If you asked me a few weeks ago who I would have had in this race, Enthar every day of the week, but I'm a little bit off her. Full disclosure, could change before the race, but I don't have her on top. But let's just say she does race, and let's say she's in pretty good nick. Although she's drawn the wide barrier, she'll come across. She's got enough early speed.
That shoot out of Caulfield, they have about 600 metres to find their position. So it's basically like a mini straight race.
Yeah.
So no issues there.
Yeah, who else will be up there with her? I think General Bow will get out up front. He's drawn well. Jigsaw's drawn well. Dosh, if Dosh runs as well. If Dosh runs, we'll get out the front. And then pretty much the rest of the horses will be sort of mid-pack. And then probably Animo, I'd say. Maybe Construct further back.
Yeah, Animo, looking at his... So all of these horses, they haven't ran in very big fields at all, but Animo, he's always been like in the last few, so I think he could be right out the back, but he's actually drawn perfectly out wide.
Yeah,
he'll get cover 3 or 4 wide, and he can just swoop him if he's good enough.
Yeah, agreed. And look, for me, there was a massive flashing light in that race in the prelude. For him on the inside barrier, made a lot of ground to nearly win. That was against the pattern of the day. There wasn't a lot of horses that were doing that. I think his splits that day for the last 400 or the last 600 were right up there for compared to other horses for the rest of the day. And remembering these are 2-year-olds, so not necessarily going as quick as the older horses. Ollie on the back, I think Ollie's starting to find some form. He was in a bit of bad form, but he's starting to find some at the right time. He hasn't won the Blue Diamond for a long time, Ollie, from memory.
I'm unsure, but Ollie going to Animo is a huge tip in Animo's direction, because he had the choice of ingratiating or Animo. He's chosen Animo. Blinkers go on. First time for Animo, so he might even be able to settle a bit closer. And because, mate, that last start in that prelude, he was looking around at 150 metres, and then once he focused, bang.
Yeah, and just looks like there's a massive tick for 1,200 metres for Animo.
Oh, huge. He's the one who I think's just got it written all over him, and has got an elite turn of foot.
Yeah, I think Animo's the horse to beat, but I'm just wary of Enthar because her 2 starts have been absolutely dominant. She's had a bit of a different lead-up prep, but the Mara Eustace stable haven't won a Blue Diamond yet, so they might have to wait a bit longer, but we'll see. One other horse I wanted to talk to you about, Mickey Walker on the back of it. Jigsaw mentioned his race in the prelude was enormous. He was about 3 or 4 wide the trip, and just looked like a horse that could find an extra couple of lengths of speed over 1,200 metres. And at that price of $19, I think he's not a bad shout in this race.
Drawn perfectly. So Michael Walker, I've been listening to him during the week as well, and basically he's saying if we draw inside barrier 5, we're going to stalk the leaders and we'll be far too strong at the end. We'll win. So he's extremely confident on this horse. Drawn barrier 4. Let them go mad out in front. If the brakes come through, he can just squeeze through there. This horse ran on debut, won by three and a bit lengths over 1,150 metres. Like, I don't think the 1,200's a concern either. So
no,
yeah, great shout. I think he'll run a great race. My tips in the race, mate. I've got Animo on top. As I said last week, I just couldn't get off him. Blinkers on. Ollie hopefully has a day out for me. But interestingly, I've got a Godolphin trifecta in this race.
Okay.
I'm happy to risk the favourite. Enthar, look, I could look like a goose But I'm happy to look like a goose if she wins and blows them away. Then she's just far too good. And you know what? That's good for racing anyway. I've got Ingratiating running second. I think the quick backup will be fairly good for that horse. Willie Pike on the back. Good to see him back.
Welcome.
Yeah, he's actually drawn perfectly, so he'll be just off the speed as well. Probably too wide with cover. Sorry, and look, I think he'll look great. Look like a great winning hope into the straight. He was only 2 lengths behind Enthar that day, and with the blinkers on, he clearly improved. But I think he might be better around a bend, not necessarily down a straight like he was last week.
Yeah.
And I've got your girl, Arcaded, running into third because even though she ran terrible time, I was talking to Brad again, both bloody hell, hotline bling to him during the week. But he was saying... I think Arcaded could run a good race. I was like, 100%. I'd basically disregard the times because remember Kiyomichi winning a golden slipper? By all times and measures, that horse could not win a golden slipper, and she did.
Yeah, once you get into the same race, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And you can only judge Arcaded on what she's done, and she's blitzed the fields that she's been in. She hasn't needed to show anything else.
And that's the thing, like... The third horse there is 100 to 1 in this field. She could only beat who she could beat. Like, I reckon we could see the real Arcaded this weekend. Barrier 1, bit sticky. So,
yeah. Well, look, very similar, mate. I've got Animo on top as well. I just think it's got too many ticks. Look, if Enthar doesn't run, I've got Jigsaw running second and Arcaded running third. Look. If Enthar does run, then that trifecta might change a bit. But for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to leave her out. And yeah, look, we could be completely wrong, but I don't know. It's not often that we, are that off $2.50 favourites. I just think there's the circumstances around this one are a little bit different. But yeah, she has blitzed them in her first 2 races.
She has, but she's been in small fields. She's drawn pretty well, and by all accounts, she's a bloody nutcase.
She'll get a lot of pressure up front, mate.
Yeah, and like all the speeds drawn inside her, they're going to hang her out to dry. I just think there's just too many things against her for mine. But the one thing I did want to actually address for the 2-year-olds, the market has been spot on with 2-year-olds right throughout the season. So I remember Enthar at her first start, like a $2 favourite.
Yeah.
The only one they really got wrong was Kalishnikov because early on in the Sydney. But in Melbourne, they've been getting General Bow right. They got Ingratiating right last weekend. So maybe the market just knows.
Yeah.
And you know what? So be it.
So be it. No, happy to take Animo with those odds for sure.
Okay. Hopefully we can get away from each other in the Oakleigh Plate here.
I think we might.
1,100 metres handicap. So, first run in 1884.
Wow.
My goodness. And you know what? A famous saying has come from this race. It goes like an Oakleigh Plater is a famous saying down in horse racing circles. So, just means that, something's really fast.
Yeah.
Because in the Oakleigh Plate, they handicap, they just go out of the gates and they just run for all money. Only 4 horses have carried more than 55.5 kilos in the last 30 years. So you have to be a bloody good one to do it. Group 2 Rubiton Stakes is a historically good lead-up race. That was won by Prophet's Thumb. Bold Star ran second and Garner into third. Only 3 favourites have won since 2008. So could be another roughie in the order this year. And the favourites in the last few years, so 11 favourites have won in the last 37. 15 favourites have failed to place in the last 37. And in the last 17 years, 12 winners have been at double figures.
Wow. And I can see this race this year, the 2021 edition, being very similar. Interesting stats there, aren't there?
Is it going to be another leader bias? that's what we should have said before all these tips came out.
Actually, yes.
It could be an absolute savage bias on the weekend, and if that's the case, Animo can't win. Behemoth can. Key can take a sit closer, but my tip in this race definitely can't win if that's the case. But hopefully, all things considered, it's not a leader bias because last year it was crazy. But to be fair, Caulfield has been playing pretty damn well recently. So
how good did Flemington play on the weekend, actually?
Beautiful.
Oh, could win from anywhere. Love it. Love to see it.
Love to see it. So, tell you what, bit of speed in this race. You have Ancestry, who's honest, drawing in. He's probably got the best barrier drawer out of all of them.
Big test here for Ancestry.
Yes, it is, but he could be up to it. How Romantic, drawn a bit sticky, but she usually goes forward. Mizzy, who ran, third in a Golden Eagle a couple of years ago. She goes forward, and gee whiz, Anders, drawn the bloody car park. He's drawn Sydney, where he belongs, and he goes forward as well. So,
yes.
How do you see this one out?
Going out? I'm absolutely perplexed by this race, mate.
Stumped,
yep. I mean, all sorts. Look, and when that's the case, when you're looking at the form, you're like, how's this race going to play out? I usually like to go, all right, what's a favourite and what's the best horse in this race? Or try and find some value. And like you just said, Oakleigh Plate, probably not the right time to go for a favourite, is it?
No.
So look, I've tried to find some value, but there is one horse that has drawn quite well and should sit just off the speed, just behind the likes of Ancestry and How Romantic. And it's actually beat home this horse right here last start.
Who?
Number 15, Portland Sky.
Okay.
So it beat Asar and Tagaloa home last start. Obviously, Tagaloa came out on the weekend, won. Asar ran second.
Mm-hmm.
Carrying 50 kegs. This horse is basically going to be levitating on the weekend, mate. It's going to be that light and floating. Look, it's got an apprentice jockey on the back. Theodore Nugent is his name. But look, Portland Sky's run 6 times, 3 wins, 3 non-placings, okay? Hasn't won at the distance, but it's got 2 wins at 1,200 metres and it's got a win at 1,000 metres. And what I liked about its race last start, it was a Group 3 race, so still a group quality race. It was sort of leading the entire race, and then with about 250, 300 to go, kicked away from Tagaloa and Asar, who were both finishing fast. Mm. And look, that form's obviously stacked up quite well last week. And I think just because of the lightweight, I think the nice barrier draw, the fact that there's nothing really else in this race that is screaming at me, I'm happy to take a punt. It's a bit left of field. I'll admit that. It's not first up, which I like. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
It is genuine roughie.
Crikey.
So I don't know. It could do absolutely nothing, but it just looks to draw nicely. Should sit just off the pace and should go well. The trainer, what's his name? Matt Laurie, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, Matt Laurie. He's got good things to say about it. Says it's got a lot of potential as a sprinter. So 3-year-old, 50 kegs on his back. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. No, look, you've made a good case. That's all I'll say.
Did it sound convincing?
It did. It did. I'm going to pick a couple of holes in it, though.
Yeah. Play on.
So, different race, first up. There was only 5 of them. And Tagaloa and Asar were first up. Tagaloa needs a run.
Fair.
And it was a slowly run race where we saw on the weekend, and in the Blue Diamond last year, this big boy, he needs a red hot speed.
Needs some pace.
So I'm not sure that's the form reference. I think the race after might be the form reference.
Yeah, fair.
But it's hard to marry up as well because the CS Hayes is 1,400 and that first up run was 1,200.
It was 1,200. He's going back.
And he's going back. So, yeah, a bit of a Rubik's Cube form reference for mine. But look,
fair.
Look, we have to have opinions in this game. One of my opinions is that Anders is going to do sweet F all in this race.
That's what I thought too.
I think he has, early on in his career, early on last prep, he was beating up on horses early in their prep and in small fields, and he was getting it his own way. He's not going to get that here.
No.
So I'm very happy to take him on. Look, if he runs a race, then so be it. I won't be backing him. There's too many unknowns.
I agree with you there.
And another thing, punters, is that Glenn Boss has confirmed that he's riding 1 kilo overweight, so he'll be on 51 kilos, not 50. Look, I had a look through this field, and there's one horse that just screams out to me. She's my favourite.
Brooklyn Hustle.
I love her. And I really wanted to not pick her, but because she gets so far back, she could be a bit of a pretender, but I just have to have her on top.
Yeah.
She is gorgeous.
She is. She hasn't shown me anything she hasn't shown me enough to back her in this race. She's won first up before though, hasn't she? Oh, it's 2 from 4 first up.
So that's what really got me about her. So she didn't beat much at the Valley, start of last prep, but on a soft 5, which is not her go, she needs a good rock hard track, which she'll get on the weekend.
Yep.
But she was gone with about 100 metres to go in that race, and she exploded over the 1,000 metres and won by 3.5 lengths. Look, she didn't beat much. Propel, benchmark horse, not really a group level horse. But to be honest, I don't think this is a really good quality Oakleigh Plate. I'm looking through the field. Zutori and Dirty Work are pretty good. Standout, he's a Group 2 horse at best. Whenever he goes up to Group 1 level, he's just not up to it. Celebrity Queen, yeah, but it's WA form, hard to tie in.
Yeah.
So I think the stable has been going hard on this girl that it's going to be a Group 1 winning mare at the end of the autumn.
Oh, man, look, yeah, you could be onto something here, but and I know you like her a lot, and that's why you've probably leaning towards her a bit. But yeah, she just hasn't shown me enough that she's good enough to win this. You mentioned Celebrity Queen. I know it's Perth form, but her form reads really well for this race, and she could come out and run a really good race. I think you've thought about this race similar to me. You've got Zutori and Dirty Work, who are both good horses, and Camel Passer as well. But the weight on them for this particular race is just so much not in their favour.
I can't believe the weight that Dirty Work has.
Yeah.
He won a Group 2, but there was 7 horses in that field. Very unfairly treated at the weights.
Exactly. And then I work my way down. You've got Ancestry, who's $5.50. He's an honest horse, but this is a big test for him. Look, he could come out and prove us wrong.
Yep.
Celebrity Queen, I think, is a good shout. I've got her running into the placings. Bold Star, maybe.
Oh, God.
Spoken about Brooklyn Hustle. Garner, maybe. How Romantic, nah. Prophet's Thumb, maybe. Big thing about Prophet's Thumb is Jamie Carr off.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a question mark.
She's on Zutori, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah.
She always rides Zutori, so I wouldn't read too much into that, but yeah, Prophet's Thumb, good luck. And
Hanseatic and Ranting, the other 3-year-olds we haven't spoken about, I'm not 100% sure. There's something about that Portland Sky. There's just something about it that I like. You're right. The form doesn't exactly marry up, but I think it was impressive beating home Tag and ASAR regardless. And you're right, Brooklyn Hustle could come out and blitz them. Who knows, mate?
Oh, mate, hoping so.
But
secured the overs.
Got my house on it.
Yeah, but I made this point after in analysing the wash-up of the CF4, where we've basically all of us tipped Crosshaven. For the 3-year-olds here, they're not the absolute elite. And when you go up against the open grade horses, I think when you're stepping up, you need to be the absolute elite. That's why I think Ole Kirk's going to run a nice race. And it's just been proven time and time again. Loving Gabby, she was an elite 3-year-old.
She was, yeah. Wasn't she just?
Whenever she went up, she lined up well against them. But those three, I think the jury's out.
Yeah, so fair. I think for the Oakleigh Plate, though, being a sprint and the handicap, maybe it's just a little bit different in this case. But yeah, for the most part, I agree. But yeah, look, I'll be playing in the exotics in this race. I think there's some real value. I've got, like I said, Portland Sky winning, Celebrity Queen running second. Look, that could change. I could swap those two around. We'll see. And then I've actually got Zutori running third. I think it's a good enough horse to run into the placings.
Elite first up horse. Yeah. Absolutely. Ran on really well last year against a Savage Bias on the day. So, yeah, absolutely. I have Brooklyn Hustle on top. So it's that type of race. I think it's wide open. I do have Celebrity Queen running into second as well. I'm a bit unsure about that form line because Elite Street came out and he had a slow recovery, so you have no idea how good that form is. And
true,
who beat her at the end of last prep?
Kamantari.
Yuck.
That is gross.
Yeah, so that form line's just a big who knows, but you know what? You have to chuck her in. And Elite first up form. And Ancestry, I've got him running into third, I think, especially if there's a leader bias. I think he can be good enough to hang in the finish, but it's that type of race.
It is that type of race. It's a toughie.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Well done. We got through it all. There. Gee whiz. Golden Slipper Day is going to be a bit tough. We're going to have 5 of them to get through.
To rattle through them.
Yeah, but, you know, we're going to be within the hour anyway, so that's good. Juicy Stakes time. Recap of last week, your value play of the day. Oh, you already, yeah.
Oh, mate. Sasmet, no good.
Oh, yes. I
ran
thought it was the other one.
Second or third last. Heat of Shock, no good. Close to last. Biv ran 5th. My best bet, so.
Damn.
No good in my Juicy Stakes last week. Sorry, punters.
Damn. But my value, good and proper. Really wished one horse did not get scratched because there was only seven runners, but it ran second. Just nosed out Salika. Unbelievably. I don't know how. The jockeys were, I think it was Jamie Carr. No, she ran first. Whoever was on, good and proper, they were behind the other jockey, but good and proper won. Don't know how. Each way, Brando, very plain. He's back on a plane to New Zealand, so happy to forgive him. It just wasn't his day. And the best regards, Marie. Gee, it took the big fella to wind up, didn't it?
Got there by a literal nostril.
Woo. But yeah, beat Buffalo River, who's a handy horse. So I'll kick off with my value play of the day because it's bleeding obvious. Brooklyn Hustle in the Oakleigh Plate.
Yeah, well, got a 6-pack on the line because mine's Portland Sky on the Oakleigh. So,
speaking of,
I think you got me.
No, you got me.
Did I?
Because Brando ran last.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we should count that race.
Hey, I don't make the rules, but I do. Yeah, so five to me, 3 to you. But another one on the line with Brooklyn Hustle v Portland Sky.
Yep.
Each way play of the day, DJ.
Animo and the Blue Diamond. I think $8 is great value.
Yeah, very nice. He would probably be mine as well, but I am very keen on a girl in race 4, and I'm taking on the favourite from Perth, Rich Hips in race 4.
Great shout.
She's come in since the market's open, so you're not getting an each way price anymore. But when the market's open, she was about $6.50. So I'm not really sure about the each way quote now. I think she's like $1.50 at place. So I'm not really happy with that. So I'll also give Animo, but I'll also give Nonconformist in the last.
Great shout too.
He's about $6.50. So got a few plays there.
Nice. For me, best of the day, horse I had as my each way a couple of weeks ago. It's Our Time. Jamie Carr on for this race on the weekend. It's in race 2.
Thank God.
It's drawn perfectly. I think it's the race for it. So about $2.35 punters. So we'll see how we go.
Okay. You're about to fall off your chair here because I've got a horse that hasn't won in 70 weeks as my best bet of the day.
Oh no.
It's that type of day. But Wolf in the first, he looks a really nice bet. Loves a rock hard track. He's rock hard fit, and I think he's going to run a really nice race. And the $4 on offer, I think that looks to steal. The horse that he needs to get over is Defibrillate. If I've got that out right.
Gee whiz.
An Aussie Nugget can run a nice race too, but I think Wolf, he's very one-paced, but he's going to be mighty hard to get past. So I think he'll find the front, Bossy on the back for Waterhouse and Bott. Be very hard to run past on a day where it's about 30 degrees or so. So, there we go, mate. We got through it.
3 Group 1s. It's a lot to get through.
It is.
You're right. Golden Slipper is going to be enormous, but I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. But yeah, any finishing thoughts here or?
Oh, mate, not really. Look, I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see how some of these favourites go on the weekend, namely Enthar, I think. Yeah, looking forward to it. Love the Blue Diamond.
Yeah, even though I'm against her. Look, I think, yeah, I do want to see how she goes because it's been a minute. Like Tagalora did win last weekend, but he's still a horse that he hasn't quite gone on with it, you know? So I'd love to see a 2-year-old win a feature that goes on with it.
Yeah, fair.
Anyway, can't wait, mate. But punters, we'll see you again next week. Same time, same studio. We'll be the guys that look like us.
And look, if you want to see what we actually look like, if you only have listened to the pod, go on YouTube, youtube.com/Polo Punt Club.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
On your bike, Mike.